Hi everyone, today I'm delighted to be here with Paul Ribbons. Hi Paul, how are you?
I'm really well, Maria, thank you.
Thanks very much for joining me today. Yeah. For those who may not have heard of you, which would be quite surprised at, do you want to just take a minute just to tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do in your background?
Yeah, I'm a property trader. I've been in property for 27 years. The first 10 years I was an estate agent. I fell into trading by accident after making a horrendous cock up when I bought a house, and it all went wrong, so we decided to dump it, and to my surprise it sold for a lot more than I expected, and in fact it spurred a multi-million-pound strategy, because that's what we've been doing ever since, which is basically buy a crappy house and then throw it into auction, and that's what we've been doing for the last 17 years.
Okay, and so you buy crappy houses, as you call it. Do you do them up as well, or do you just...
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No. We may distress them, and by that I mean we may make them look worse, board them up or something, or get the kids to spray paint the boards with some graffiti or something of that nature.
Okay, so I've obviously been watching too many TV programmes, because when I watch them, they do the complete opposite, and they do them up and they make them look habitual and lovely, and you do the opposite. Why do you do that? It's
reverse psychology.
Okay.
If I asked you to think about what people normally do in an auction, you would probably think they go to auction to buy a cheap house, they do it up, they sell it for more money. If you look for an auction catalogue and you see lots of nice houses and you see one that's all boarded up, what's your immediate thoughts?
Well, you just get turned off, don't you?
Do you?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it boarded up? Most people get excited because they think, oh, there's value in that, I can add value to it. So there's more work to be done. So, and Yvette's got whiplash, my wife's got whiplash, where I've literally thrown the brakes on, seen a house that's all boarded up, knocked either side, because I'm thinking straight away I can add value to that, or it's a deal. So people get excited usually. So it goes in with a cheap guide price, looking crap, and that's a magnet for people. They flock to auction thinking, I'm going to buy this cheap. They are bidding against each other. The auction is very, very clever, and he'll work that room, and inevitably we'll get a far fuller price.
So do you mainly only sell at auction, or do you also sell via estate agents as well?
It's rare that we sell privately via estate agents. I may well pass them on to other traders. Sometimes we'll trade something because it suits us. We have auction fees, but realistically I like the auction, because one, you never know what's going to happen, and I do like the excitement of the auction, and secondly I think the hammer falls at the right price in the auction room. You inevitably find that you'll get the right money for it.
And I would imagine it's a lot of a faster process as well.
Yes, I mean I'm very impatient, and my attitude is I want I'm fortunate to be dyslexic. I'm going to say it. And I find the fastest, easiest, most effective way of doing everything, and that suited my philosophy really.
If I wanted to get into the property investment world, I get a bit concerned that everyone knows everyone, it's quite incestuous, and there's a lot of backhanders going on. You know, how would a newbie get started and break across the I know such and such world? How does that work?
It's funny because we've done probably about 540 deals in the last 17 years, and very few times it's been on that what we know, we know rather than what we know. As an ex-agent, it was easy for me. I made the transition quite easy. I realised that the asking price is not necessarily the value. So you get agents asking a price for a specific house, and it's in real poor condition, and they think, oh my God, this is a right dive, no one's going to want this. And actually, nothing's further from the truth. In fact, everyone wants a real dive because they think we can make money out of that. So that's the things I concentrate on. I concentrate on the properties that I see as undervalued, and anyone can spot them really. It's just knowing what things to look for. I do quote many a time, it's the technical indicators that reveal a deal to me. It's not necessarily what you know, as opposed to what you do know.
Okay, now I've been following you for quite a while, and one of the things that definitely strikes up is that you're very good at spotting these little property gems, if you like. How do you do that, and how do you teach others to be able to do that? Is it one of those you've either got it or you haven't, or can someone learn how to find them as well?
That's a great question. It's funny because Yvette said to me when we first started doing this, is it teachable what you do? You're so good at what you do, is it teachable? And I said, well, have you heard of NLP?
Yeah.
Neuro-linguistic programming. That's the study of excellence. And they really do shortcut finding out how people do things, unpacking it and saying, okay, what do you do? And then you can then teach that, what you do. And sometimes it's subconscious. I don't even realise what I do. So I have to sit there for ages and ages and ages.
The guru here, clearly.
But I think it's like when you drive a car. You know, you drove over here. If I asked you to recite the whole journey,
you just switch off, don't you? Go in hypnotic state.
Yeah, and that hypnotic state is subconscious mind working in the background. And if you have to start asking questions like, what do I do? What do I look for? And it's technical indicators. It's little tiny things that I might spot. Something that might tell me a property's been on the market for a long time, or something where a property's been under offer for a long time. Because a lot of people I know, or investors, developers, such like, they tend to ignore the ones that are sold. Well, I'm like a magnet at the ones that are sold, because I'm looking to see when they were first agreed. If it had been any certain period after that, it might be 2 or 3 months, I'll be chasing the agent to find out why it hasn't exchanged. Can I have a look at it? Because these are the sort of things that the reason why I'm good at spotting deals. And I am a bulldog. Well, tenacity is my middle name.
I think you have to be in this industry, don't you?
You do, yeah.
So talk me through what a typical day is like for Paul Ribbons. Are you playing golf all day, or are you driving around looking for properties?
It's funny, before I started teaching, I can't stand golf, by the way. It's not my cup of tea. But I had a lot of freedom, and that's the reason why I got in this business in the first place, was freedom. I don't like to be stuck in an office all day. And I went through a divorce many years ago, and I wanted time with my kids, so I made sure that I put myself in self-employment as opposed to employment. And I work when I want to work, really. So if you talk about a typical working day, then I'm quite full on. And I'll get to the office, I'll search, make appointments, go and have a look at a few bits and pieces. The great thing about modern technology is you can do it from anywhere.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You don't need an iPad, iPhone, or a laptop nowadays, and you can do it anywhere. And that's been the greatest advancement in my business in the last few years, is that it gives me the freedom to do what I want, when I want, whenever I want.
Sure.
Wherever I want. And I've even bought houses when I've been on a beach in Spain or in France. So this can happen if you set it up that way. Since I've been teaching, it's been a different kettle of fish, because this is a new business, the teaching world. So there's a lot more involvement, but it's like anything else. Right at the beginning, there was a lot of commitment, huge amounts. My sister came over from New Zealand in 1998, and I was permanently on the phone. She showed me a video recently, and she said, "Look, that's you when I came over last time," and there's the phone permanently attached to my ear, because I didn't want to miss a deal.
Yeah, sure.
The day's different. You know, it's a different mentality, it's a different work ethic. I was trying to prove myself in them days. You're trying to build relationships, and it was all about, more deals.
Yeah, sure.
So, when you first start out, it's hard. As you get the climb the ladder of success, it gets easier. But it's the freedom that I was always after.
Okay, and you talk about your teaching. I mean, obviously, it's great that you're now doing this because you've got so much skills and experience. Do you still dip your hands into the property as well to keep fresh?
Got to.
Yeah.
I believe, personally, if I'm going to teach this, I've still got to do it.
Yeah.
And we do programs where we teach people to find deals, and if they haven't got the money, then we'll buy the deal on their behalf and cut them in on a profit. So we're always finding deals via our delegates as well as finding them myself. We've just tied up 3 in the last week.
Oh, fantastic.
But I can't I'd feel a fraud if I didn't do it still.
Sure,
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I know there are some people out there teaching stuff that they learnt 5 years ago and they haven't done it since because they can't get finance. You know, it's mad.
Yeah.
But I've always believed that I've got to be doing it. Otherwise, why should someone listen to
No,
me?
it makes sense, definitely. And you spoke just before about finance. I mean, obviously that's a big issue at the moment for a lot of people. Can you give any advice on the best ways around that to get finance and how that can be a stumbling block and how to overcome it?
It's really simple.
Okay. Ooh.
It's really simple, and I think people get het up on finance. When I first went self-employed in 1996, I didn't have a pot to piss in. And this was basically, I got 4 clients and I found deals for 4 clients, and I built it up over a period of time. Then one of them said, come into business with me, and that's what I did. The money never entered my head because the art to this business is not money, it's finding deals. Because if your ability is spotting an opportunity, I promise you won't ever have a problem finding the money, because this is what people do. They get het up on having to do the deal themselves and keeping all the money themselves. They don't want to give anything away. They don't want to, they're trying to skimp on costs all the time. I believe that I'd rather take £500 to £1,000 on that deal than turn it away. So at the very early stages, I wasn't earning a great deal on each deal, but it got me into the marketplace. And this is where most people are stuck. They're going, yeah, but I can't buy the deal and I want to buy it myself and keep all the profits myself. Well, don't be greedy.
Okay.
That's my advice.
So that would be one of your biggest tips, don't be greedy.
Be a good middleman.
Okay.
That's the art of good business, is to be a good middleman. Because if you're a good middleman, you'll never be skinned. And then as you build it up, then you become not the middleman, you become the end man, so to speak. And this is what people don't understand. Out of the 540 deals that I've done, say 20% of them, I never actually purchased myself. I just passed it on to someone else. I was going to purchase it and think, well, I might as well sell it for a little bit cheaper to someone else and say, look, give me a commission on it on that particular deal, as opposed to buying it in, having all the costs. Because I'd make the same money as I would passing it on to someone, selling it in auction. So I just cut all that process out and say, look, and this is what it comes down to. Only deal with people you trust. Trust with your life. Yeah. So these 4 guys that I dealt with right at the beginning, I could trust them with my life. I knew if they put their name to it, they would do the deal. If they didn't, they would get another deal again. So that's important.
Yeah, no, definitely. Great advice. Thank you.